afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane, featuring today a 1 versus 1 on Semois. We shall be watching Devm fighting for the Americans, taking on the fight for the 1st Infantry Division. Opposing him shall be Symbiosis, fighting for the 2nd Panzer Division. And already within the first few minutes we are seeing a standard start, at least what looks to be a standard start from both players. 2 engineers, barracks, Wehrmacht quarters. Nothing out of the ordinary right there. Of course, question is what will be going up next. For Symbiosis, we will be seeing some Volksgrenadiers, so again, rather solid start. Infantry being the more, how shall we say, adaptable unit. Good all-rounder, and certainly can also lay down quite impressive amount of fire. Well, of course, not quite as much as a machine gun, but nonetheless, quite stable and can certainly handle, being caught a bit off guard, whereas for an MG that can pretty much mean you're forced to retreat. And we will likely be seeing some rifling out for Devm as well, but heading left and right from both players. Nothing out of the ordinary right there. Nothing out of the ordinary, in fact, and the Volksgrenadiers march out. 352nd Infantry Division was the division, in fact, holding Omaha Beach, amongst other places. They had not been anticipated by the Americans to be there. In fact, they had expected a much lower quality division there, but instead they found the 352nd, which had in fact been training quite hard to be ready for the Eastern Front. It never quite got there, but nonetheless all the work towards fighting on the Eastern Front definitely paid off when the Americans came, and certainly allowed them to punch a bit above their weight. And they certainly also had a slight advantage. Oh wait, I'm talking about the 352nd, we're talking about the 2nd Panzer Division, my bloody fault. 352nd were there, but 2nd Panzer Division was actually an older division, in fact formed from Austrians. I believe it was also called the Vienna Division. Haha. Oh dear, my apologies. Just a bit going on, and sadly sometimes things go a bit off track. I've just got a bunch of exams going on, amongst other things. Still, yes I know. So again, I sincerely apologize. That was really a mistake and muck up by me. But we are seeing additional rifle going up for Devm, pushing up against the Volksgrenadiers. Engineers pushing up down the south, so far very spread out. Of course, the engineers and pioneers, for that matter, working the wings, hoping to perhaps win the smaller engagements, push forwards there. But overall, I mean, that's where the engineers usually can get the drop on the pioneers and usually push the pioneers away, and that meaning, of course, the Americans will also be winning on the flanks. On the other hand, of course, if the Wehrmacht can force a decisive engagement in the center, they can usually push through there, and we do see that Symbiosis is currently fortifying the center with barbed wire, cutting off back yard access to the house. Although he might also want to wire off here, so they can't immediately get into the house if they do decide a longer western path. Another Volksgrenadier squad arrives for Symbiosis, going straight up to the right flanks. Of course, we will see that Devm initially will likely be gaining both this area and this area, and of course the high munitions following up on it. Though we do see Volksgrenadiers moving down. We're seeing a mine up here. Interesting. Of course, probably trying to protect himself from being flanked up here. Pioneers getting pushed off by riflemen. Volksgrenadiers working together in tandem. That is usually where they tend to work the best, when they have something else to work with. Volksgrenadiers are not really infantry that works well on their own, I'm afraid. And we do see that Devm's engineers are hiding away, and either, Symbiosis will miss them, or he's going to be forced to have to constantly run around against them. And at the same time, we see that Symbiosis' fuel point up here is going to get harassed, and we see that Symbiosis has absolutely nothing protected, not even a mine, which is definitely going to cost him a bit as Devm goes for the fuel. Very nice move. There we go. We do see the engineers pushed up at the same time. Rifleman squad arrives to protect their retreat. Very nice move there by Devm. Center, though, still being held by an MG-42. Not entirely sure what the pioneers they were doing. No mines or anything going up there. And of course, again, we are going to see that fuel point going to be taken. 2 Volksgrenadiers and now 2 MGs up for Symbiosis. Reasonably heavy. Question is, will he go for another Volksgrenadier squad or a sniper? At the same time, Rifleman going here and running off and getting cut down. Rifleman sneaking up here, going to flank the pioneers. And from the Wehrmacht quarters, we do see Not much. At the same time, we do see the riflemen pushed away there. They just wanted to run at the point neutral, probably expecting that Symbiosis would be putting up an MG to push them away from there. Nicely done. Rifleman squad flying up there against the MG42. Foltzker's moving up to try and assist. Going to deliver as much damage, although the riflemen are definitely going to try and see if they can't get that MG42 silenced permanently. And there we go. Rifleman pushed off. MG42 sets up elsewhere. Larger assault going in from Devm. 3 squads now in the town centre. The MG42 not really set up in a position to help. And there are no doctrines initiative that can help Symbiosis win this fight. Of course, he's forced to pull out of the centre. At the same time, Pioneers continue on the right flank. Riflemen continue up there. MG42 comes up, but they are in heavy cover, so they will largely be safer. And the Volksgunners are definitely not looking too well right then. We do see a sniper on the way for Symbiosis. He might also want to consider taking up. In fact, we do see skirmish phase on the way for Symbiosis. At the same time, Devm is rushing towards a motor pool or a tank depot, since we are seeing this plan, and we are in fact going to see an armoured car then, since the motor pool is up. Devm certainly handling things nicely, and in fact, if I didn't know better, no, never mind. Almost thought, in fact, he only had 3 squads of riflemen, but I don't think Devm is that reckless. But nonetheless, he's still managing quite an armoured car rush, partly due to the fact of the map dominance he's been able to sort of exercise against Symbiosis. But now we do see 2 Volksgunners, 2 MGs, and a sniper. A reasonably stable, solid tier 1. It's not light tier 1, but it's not quite heavy either. That's usually more around the 6 units, but nonetheless, I mean, even a sniper on top of that is certainly towards a bit more of a fat tier 1, if you will. Slightly overweight, but not quite there either. And again, another push. And we do see Devm is actually expecting Symbiosis to mine this and then burns in front of it, but there's nothing there. And most of Symbiosis' forces are again disposed towards the center and thus unable to actually cover this area. He needs to perhaps spread out his forces a bit more and also push towards there. That might help him protect against harassment up here a bit, but again, Devm constantly harasses there and he's definitely doing a great job. Sniper and MG moving southwards, pushing up towards the center here. Fox is going to get pushed away. Another squad moves up very slowly, going to probably try and counterattack there after having been reinforced by the Wehrmacht quarters. Nothing else going on for Symbiosis. He needs to take up, he needs to do something soon, because there's definitely going to be an armoured car crashing down the road towards him. Minesweepers detecting the mine laid down by Symbiosis and clearing it out, and they get away. Sniper misses a bit horribly, and the Volksgunners here definitely going to need a medic's pack. They're actually in a terrible condition, and they might as well have 3 veterancy written on them, considering their current state. I mean, they're definitely going to get killed off very quickly. And we see instead that Devm then mines this point, very bold, very aggressive, and very likely that Symbiosis will be setting off that mine. Definitely a nice little artistic stroke right there by Devm up north. Certainly not a bad one either, in particular since Symbiosis likely did not see it. So very nasty stuff there, very nasty. He does engage the engineers now. Flamethrower engineers coming under fire. Kriegberg still going up. Not much going up here. He could consider some wire or some mines. MG42 advancing up a bit here. Could risk getting flanked through the far path over there, so he needs to be a bit careful. Oh, and we do see Devm going for a bit more of an oblique approach with his armoured car, of course using it on the flanks, which is where it excels, but actually going to hit the southern flank, where Devm or Symbiosis might not quite be prepared. At the same time, engineers again going in north. The Volksgunner is not quite keen on this. They don't want to get too close to the engineers. They want to be a bit cautious, and we are seeing that Devm is in fact sending in troops to assist this northern harassment, in fact the northern fuel throttling. And there we go, Greyhound pushes against the armoured car, firing away with all guns, while at the same time the rest of Symbiosis forces are occupying the centre. I mean, Symbiosis really in the trouble, and again, that Kriegbergs was way too late, a bit too delayed for my tastes, and that might in fact hurt him, in particular since he's now actually quite floating 500 manpower, and at this stage he could definitely have used another infantry squad on the field, either Volksgrenadiers or Grenadiers, to sort of push against his opponent and keep some of the flanks clear. But he's currently lacking a bit in that, and currently Devm is reaping all the rewards as he's pushing in. Now continuing the further advance from here, once he's broken through the MG there. Engaging Symbiosis forces, trying to lay down mines, and of course going to hit the lines in this village. from the rear, going to do some damage to the MG and the Volkskanadiers right there. And in fact, we could risk that Symbiosis loses an MG, but no, he focuses down the Volkskanadier, allowing the MG apparently to escape.
We are losing territory.
But there we go, the town centre has fallen to Devm and the 1st Infantry, though we do finally see a pack on the way. We do see a Grenadier squad, but still, Symbiosis is floating manpower. That's not good. Oh, and now we're seeing a mortar. Interesting. The Granatenwerfer to be wielded against his American opponents. And then quickly going for the cutoff point there. Very nice move, very nice. Sniper leading the way, getting a Yankee. And Devm is also floating quite a bit of resources. I mean, currently he's definitely got the upper hand. So the question is, how does Devm want to sort of further unfold his fight against Symbiosis? Does he want snipers? He could even go for a tank depot this very moment. But looks like he's going for the Trier Center to help his men fight the good fight for a bit longer. And of course, one thing that Symbiosis could consider might actually be a medic bunker to try and help with casualties. And perhaps slowly that way push some pressure on Devm. Kampfkraft Center going up, so we're likely going to be seeing some infantry veterans up soon. That's definitely going to be a good move. And note, Devm constantly shifting about. The Greyhound first, he attacked down here. Now he's shifting up towards here. He's going to try and keep Symbiosis' pack guessing, and in worst case, I mean, he's going to have to force Symbiosis to get another pack to sort of reasonably well protect himself against the Greyhound. I mean, it's definitely going to be a game of cat and mouse. And the cat in this case is a more ponderous anti-tank gun. So that's definitely not going to be a good game for Symbiosis. And a good American player can in fact force a Wehrmacht player to have to spend a disproportionate amount of resources to get the armoured car. They should spend a lot more armoured manpower, for example, than the armoured car itself cost. And in fact, if he managed to force Symbiosis to get another pack, he would have done exactly that. I mean, 280 manpower, a pack costs about 270, so I mean 2 packs, I mean that's going to be about almost twice as much in terms of manpower, and that's definitely going to then be an advantage for Devm, as that's then going to be not manpower being directed against its infantry in the forms of more Grenadiers, for example. Raven here, they're advancing straight into the MG, getting sniped. Raven squad though flanks up, mortar, and we're seeing veterans up for the mortar, and the old mortar's getting pushed up here. This area was quite open up, and we are in fact seeing most of everything that Symbiosis has pushed off the field once more. The Grenadiers are not there. Looks like they might be heading westwards. No, where are they? War sind die Grenadiere. They are down here. Enough grenade. He was hoping to perhaps lure out the troops with a grenade, but does not succeed. Instead, the Rifle now finally pushed up. Mine goes off here, almost killing the entire Rifle squad. Will Symbiosis be able to finish off Devm's Rifle? No, he looks like the lucky bastard manages out of the town. And mining going down there, lovely from Devm. Mines win games, as they say. But fuel there once more secure. Devm again constantly harassing and just being a sneaky little pain in the arse. And we're seeing a weapons ports are now going up. We're seeing a sniper out for Devm. He's likely going to try and see if he can't get the crouch sniper, finish him off. Grenadiers advancing, and there we go, first shot on him. Pioneers laying down mines. Volkskanadiers pulling away with some losses. Sniper nowhere near to be seen. Of course, there's also the mortar. In fact, they are traveling alongside each other. And there we go, the mortar setting up. Greyhound moving into town. 5 kills already. And we do see a second pack out again. We do see that Symbiosis, because of the way that Devm has been wielding the pack against him, has been forced to get a second pack. And that really ought to say everything about how well Devm is at actually using the Greyhound. Again, it can force a player to use a much larger amount of resources than, the unit itself cost. And there we go, the pack trying to get away, getting sniped as well, artillery raining in, and in fact the pack could get assaulted by American troops. At the same time, MG left down here, quickly swivels about and sets on killing the engineers, trying to get the victory point right there. Mortar continues to fire away. So far, not a single kill for the mortar. And there we go, outright killing 2 rifles, leaving the rest a bit shocked and running off. Symbiosis will quickly need to reinforce the center right here, otherwise, I mean, Devm could pretty quickly push through. Oh, and he mined right there, the MG42 moving into it, lost one of its gunners. Not good. Greyhound sitting about here, going to try and hunt down one of the pioneers up north. And the pioneer quickly went down. Round went far, of course. Very much, of course. And Devm pushing towards the south. Not a lot of movement from Symbiosis up here. Pioneer squad went down the retreat. Very nasty, very painful. And a bit of fighting going on here by the southern island. Sniper nearby. Rifle advancing up the center, getting blasted. And we're also hearing the mortars trying to land on some poor Americans. Pack here, though, a bit far removed, trying to be of help. And there we go, the Greyhound pushing up against the Pioneers. Could get some kills. And there we go, one Pioneer down. Come on, Symbiosis. Rückzug. Save your Pioneers. And looks like Symbiosis did not care about his Pioneers, allowing them to get killed. Greyhound moving up. Looks like the Grenadiers are going to make a run for the house to get off a the church. And a mortar round hits the Greyhound, doing quite a bit of damage. The Pantrek adds in damaged engine, but note with Veterans you want, again, it does get a speed increase, and on the road it travels faster overall. So, I mean, despite having a damaged engine, this Greyhound is actually able to escape pretty swiftly. Quite impressive. And, of course, also a bit indicative of how things sometimes work in the game, which is a bit silly. A bit silly. Rifle advancing up, they're coming under fire from the MG. Grenadiers vacate the premises. Well, sniper homes up. Needs to be careful, though. He must know that Devm has a sniper about here somewhere. So again, Symbiosis needs to be careful with the sniper. He's actually moving him closer to the enemy front line. Oh, mortar round almost wipes out a Rifleman squad. But again, the Rifleman squad managed to pull off a Forest Gump and escape. MG42, though, stolen from Symbiosis. A bit the danger of leaving it on its own down south, and it was taken out, giving Devm additional heavy weapons to wield against Symbiosis. That's definitely going to be quite the headache from our German friend of the 2nd Panzer Division. MG getting pushed off. Sniper opens up. Graham puts up. We're seeing the mortar quite exposed. The pack's going to get caught up as well. This looks to be an absolute disaster for Symbiosis. Propaganda, well, he's gone terror. He went and spent 100 minutes to save his sniper after what could essentially be described as a bit of a blunder from him. And artillery going in. Pack trying to get away. Sniper trying to get away. And there's nothing to assist. Although we do see the Sturm Army now up for Symbiosis. Pack decrewed. Greyhound trying to hunt down the sniper. The sniper desperately trying to avoid the pathing of the American Greyhound. But the pack is decrewed. And Symbiosis barely has any territory left. He needs something to turn the tide around. And of course the question becomes if he should not have gone for Blitzkrieg. That might have helped him a bit more in the aggressive manner. Perhaps a Stu 42 could rather throw a bit of a surprise into Devm's strategies and plans. In fact, the Stu 42, had he gone for that, would definitely have been quite something unexpected for Devm. Certainly not something he would have been prepared for. But instead we saw Terror, which is sad actually becoming the most common doctrinal use. That is, you rarely see, Wehrmacht players bother for anything else, which again is, not necessarily a good indicator. And it's not because Terror is suddenly the almost powerful doctrine, but again, rather metagamers work towards it, and again, sometimes that can mean a few things get forgotten. And again, it also means that pretty much all players will work towards countering that, which could leave another doctrinal use a bit more open for a slight surprise. MG42, though, is quickly run off. Again, the pack gets recruited by Devm. And we do see the first armor car rolling through the fences from Symbiosis, and the 2nd Panzer Division force goes advancing up, coming under fire from the Riflemen, securing a victory point again. Points are definitely ticking down, though, for Symbiosis. He's having trouble laying on sufficient pressure. And Devm decides to solidify things with a howitzer. That's definitely going to hurt. And again, fighting for the northern fuel point. Devm definitely is toying a bit about with Symbiosis. Bombing the central road, probably going for some interdiction artillery. Gets off a bit of a hit on the armored car. And looks like Symbiosis is trying to lure up Devm. Sniper not quite having any success with it. No, never mind. That was bloody well close. Could easily ended up very ugly for Symbiosis. Fighting up here, we do see the Grenadiers finally able to push away the Riflemen, and some other poor bastard going to have to take that fuel point back once more. Nebelwerfer arriving for Symbiosis, a bit of rocket artillery. Going to try and see if he can't employ it against his opponent. Although, of course, with the howitzer, Symbiosis will need to be careful. He will need to move it about once in a while to otherwise try and avoid counter-artillery. Otherwise, you can very much easily end up losing that Nebelwerfer to American counter-artillery.
The enemy is down to 300 points.
Armored car dealing with the engineers down there. Although we do see a rifle squad moving up to try and support. And another unit went down. We see the sniper went down. Symbiosis was perhaps a bit too reckless with him, expecting a bit too much. Rifle moving forward and getting gunned down by the armored car. Definitely some heavy loss being inflicted there. And we do see a Pioneers hiding up there. But Symbiosis is definitely feeling the pressure. And looks like we are seeing... Oh, and interdiction artillery towards here. He seems to be not caring about the Nebelwerfer, at least not for the time being. And we actually see that apparently the mortar fell to Devm, and he has now actually recruited. Oh dear! Oh dear! Devm moved in his armored car against the German one, and instead Symbiosis is blocking off his Greyhound with the armored car and allowing the pack to wipe it out. Really nice move there by Symbiosis. Perhaps not quite intentional initially, but he was able to deliver a bit of a crucial blow there to Devm. Definitely denied Devm a very valuable unit, one he's been using to cause Symbiosis quite a bit of frustration. I mean, again, a great armored car usage can, cause your opponent to have to spend a lot more resources to get it than, you had to spend on getting it yourself. And now we do see a second armored car rolling out for Symbiosis. It's going to be a bit more difficult now for Devm to try and handle it, of course. He's now only going to have a pack. The armored cars can roll a bit more now aggressively. And it's definitely now the time for Symbiosis, I think, to just push forwards and try and do as much damage to Devm as possible. He needs to move forwards. He needs to be aggressive in the name of the fatherland. At the same time, Devm again going for a very deep flank towards the victory point there, although encountering a Grenadier squad. Coming a bit under fire there. Nebelwerfer rockets rain down upon the town. Oh, actually doing quite a bit of damage to the mortar and the church. Lighting the town square on fire. Pack, though, forces away the armored car, but Fultz goes here against Rifle. No armored car on the far flank. Not sure why he wouldn't move it up there. He's got two. And artillery blowing up the northern part of the town where the Germans have been hiding out. In fact, it's currently time for the mid-game analysis. And if you're wondering about the noise in the background, yeah, that's a cat being weird. Trying to get through my window blinds. Anyways, current situation. I mean, Symbiosis just took out the armor car again. That's definitely a huge thing for him again. Although, I mean, Devm was actually able to do an insane amount of damage with his armored car, which probably shouldn't have happened, but there you go. Now, of course, the question is, how will Symbiosis take advantage of this? Of course, he's quickly salvaging, that's good, but he needs to push through. He needs to make an opening up here. He needs to force Devm to spread out a bit. He also needs to, I think, move down here for some harassment of his own. Perhaps even go for that fuel point. At the same time, tank depot going up for Devm, so we're definitely going to be seeing some armor or tank destroyers to be wielded against the armored cars. And of course, Symbiosis could also consider trying to silence that howitzer. Of course, he's gone terror, so he could go right hand side and go for the V1, call it in there, and probably silence it. That would definitely be a good move, I think, for Symbiosis. He needs to push forwards. He might consider a few Stooks with veterancy 2. And otherwise, he just needs to get killing and possibly consider a medic bank either behind here or here. But let us return to the fight.
Losing territory.
Lake being bombarded. Apparently, Devm has decided it is harboring a German submarine or some other such idea, or just their children being poor at hitting. Another Grenadier squad arriving for now. Symbiosis trying to get some infantry parity, at least in squad numbers. And the tank depot is now up for Devm. Supplied upgrade number 1 for Devm. That is good. That is good. At the same time, not even veterancy 2 for Symbiosis infantry. That could prove beneficial. Or possibly some veterancy 2 for the support units. I mean, the Pioneers would benefit with elite armor. The MG would get elite armor. The Needlewerfer would be able to fire much faster, which would definitely also be of help, I think. But there we go. We're actually seeing a small force of folks as an MG moving northwards, flanking about there, while the armored cars and the rest of the infantry then seems to be handling this center. But again, I mean, I'd rather think the MG and the Volkswagen would be in the center and the armored cars should be moving in the north. I mean, let's just briefly pause again. If you notice the north compared to the center, the north is considerably more open ground. It is much better territory for the armored cars to move about, whereas the center, I mean, it's much more narrow streets. It's much easier for the armored on the anti-tank gun to actually try and destroy it. So that is something that I think Symbiosis should try and consider if he actually listens to this. Though I doubt it, and I'm sure he's laughing at me then if he's actually listening and watching this. But let us get back to the fight again. Just want to point out territory, and again, different sorts of territory can favor different types of units. Rifleman, though, continues to be held up in the church, firing away with the BARs, doing quite alright there against the Grenadiers, keeping them a bit occupied. Armored cars not really achieving much again. I think, he should try shifting at least one from the center towards here and do some support for the northern efforts. Sniper from the American continues to do some killing. Flamethrowers now for the Pioneers. No veteran 2, but he's definitely pushing up there, but he's going to run straight into the MGs, and the Nebelwerfer is not really within range to help, but he's actually moving it about constantly, so Symbiosis is of course aware that he's going to have to be careful about counter-artillery. And right here I think actually, again, he might have benefited more from right-hand side of the terror doctrine. Now right here, a firestorm, I think, could actually done a lot of damage to Devm and had cleared out the central defenders, allowing Devm to push through there. But we do see a Hellcat rolling out. We do see the armored cars pulling away. And there we go, Needlewerfer rockets flying and not really overall achieving much except another hit or 2 on the church.
MG crew on me.
Armored car's not really going to do much. He's going to need Stooks, or he's not going to need to upgrade both armored cars to Pumas if he wants to be able to deal with the Hellcat. So that is something that has to be considered by Symbiosis. But we are seeing that Symbiosis is going to get pushed back a bit further again. Victory points continue to tick down. Rifleman pushed away. The armored car does quite a bit of damage. A new sniper up for Symbiosis. Not entirely sure that's a grand idea. And there we go, those Sturmgeschütz coming out for Symbiosis. By the mid to later stage of the war, Panzer divisions were usually given a full battalion of them to sort of replace the 3rd Panzer battalion they actually had in the beginning of the war. But as the war progressed, they actually lost, and they usually only had 2 battalions of Panzers. No, assault guns. As assault guns were diverted towards the assault gun battalions, the more independent ones, to be used a lot of other places. So a bit of fun there. Volkswagen squad moving up north, encountering some riflemen. Although they do have the heavy cover, they might be able to get a slight advantage over the riflemen within the first few seconds. With a bit of luck, there we go, rifleman down to 4-man. Volkswagen's down to 3, and there we go, retreat from Symbiosis. Artillery going down into the center again. Not achieving much, although he does clear out the mortar, denying them that bit of support weaponry. And moving up here again to try and go for that fuel point. Ever successful. And again, no armor cars providing assistance up here. I mean, imagine if he just had one here, he could actually have caused Devm quite a bit of surprise. But note, Symbiosis armored cars are largely doing nothing, which is honestly a bit of a waste of the resources then. Sniper continues to kill. Krauts. And I'm sure Symbiosis is doing what he can to try and find the damn bastard and end his life. Hellcat gets another kill with his main gun. And there we go. Finally moving the armored cars on another direction. About the damn time, I would say, from Symbiosis. Pioneers pushed away from the center. And finally also making some moves down south, sending in some very depleted Volksgrenadiers. They could easily be killed. Stug moving into the center, coming under fire from the Hellcat. Shots bounce off. Up here, the Riflemen are simply getting murdered by the armor cars. Will the Riflemen once more pull off a forest gap and escape? No, they get murdered. Murdered, I say. Are dead, and we even see a BAR left behind, which in theory could be picked up by Symbiosis' men. And we do see now the Hellcats being moved northwards. Meanwhile, the Stugs move into the center. There's not much there. The pack has been decrewed, not recrewed. There's only an MG-42 and a sniper. And the Stug... Oh, we're seeing 2 snipers up for Devm. 2!
We're losing territory.
Hellcat immediately on the hunt for the armored cars. Pioneers moving southwards. Hellcat's hunting down the armored car, and there we go, getting off a nice hit. A bit of further firing. MG crew pushed off. But we do see Symbiosis finally making some progress in the center. That's only because finally he's also managed to distract Devm from the center by actually making a concerted effort in the north. And again, thanks to the armor cars, when they finally moved in there again, he forced Devm to abandon the center. So again, I'm pretty sure he should have done that a lot earlier. Now we do see the armor cars once more back in the center. And once more, Symbiosis is pushing hard up towards there. Riflemen sneaking about southwards, although could easily come under wrathful fire from the armoured cars. I think the mortar's a bit too close, so everything needs to be pulled a bit further back. And another Stug out for Symbiosis. And again, another time where I think it might have been more beneficial had he gone Blitzkrieg. Oh, Volkswagen squad went down. Oh dear. But with a bit of Blitzkrieg, you could definitely get more out of those Stugs, get them to fire faster. Move faster. Terror Doctrine is sort of more the heavy infantry player's choice. Blitzkrieg is more where you sort of go for a mix of infantry and armor. Or have more armor than infantry in either case. Armor car... A bike actually... Why did he get a bike? Interesting enough. Could work out, but could also easily get knocked out, in which case that's 180 manpower down the drain. Rather than fighting against the Volkswagen up north, continued flanking, and we actually see now Symbiosis moving in very aggressive towards the fuel point. Again, he's incredibly close to the base, and had he, secured some resources and points towards the V1 rocket, he could land one right there on the howitzer and knocking out, denying Devm quite a vital asset. But so far that does not seem to be happening. Hellcat moving up, bike pulling away, MG setting up Grenadiers, fighting nearby. Probably going to try and see if they can't get off a rocket on the Hellcat. And there we go, the bike spots the snipers, but there's an anti-tank gun. 5 command points. Of course, you could now consider getting a King Tiger. It looks like the bike will be going down. No, never mind. He's spending the resources on something else. And several Browning automatics being picked up by Symbiosis. But let's go look at Devm again. Second supplied upgrade going up. That's going to help. Going to help quite a bit. Anti-tank gun getting a bit spotted here by Grenadiers and Sniper. But 2 shots from the Snipers kill only 1 guy, and there we go, second man dead. And there we go, the Grenadiers are on the run, trying to escape the wrath of Devm.
We're losing a strategic
First guy's getting sniped, and there we go. More artillery going in towards the center. Symbiosis keeping the Stooks at the front, getting Metro 2 for them. That's definitely going to help against the infantry that Devm is employing, but the artillery on the Stooks is not helping. And I think, you know, at this stage that Symbiosis should consider getting a repair bone grab to try and help. At the same time, armor cars doing quite nice damage, and they could have a direct route towards the howitzer. They could even try and at least decrew it initially, which will at least temporarily silence it. But now we do see that Symbiosis is actually gaining map dominance. It's now Devm being thrown back. And my pardons for the hiccups.
Enemy unit down.
And there we go, though. Stook went down. That's definitely going to hurt Symbiosis quite a bit. Second Panther is definitely running into problems. Stook coming under heavy fire from the Hellcat and the anti-tank gun. Mortar round falling down upon the rifleman. And a bit of light skirmishing there. And what now? But also note, I mean, Symbiosis has constantly been shifting about the Nebulif. I mean, there's not been one moment where I think even Devm has bothered considering using counter-artillery on it. But Symbiosis is taking no chance, and that's certainly always a good thing to assume that, you know, your opponent is any moment going to counter-artillery. So keep moving it about. Fire against the Stook. Pack coming under fire as well. Grenadiers trying to hunt down the Hellcat, anti-tank and right then the sniper, but actually the centre is very thinly guarded. Although there's still the two snipers. Oh dear, pack gunner down. Pack gunner down. And there we go. Pack decrewed quite viciously. No additional Stooks out. Although interesting enough, Devm is only sticking about with a single Hellcat. He's not getting more. It's quite interesting. Nebula rockets land into the cemetery, or at least what remains of it. It's largely been desecrated into oblivion. Engineer unit down, which actually means that Devm has no engineers. Rifleman getting stopped on the road by the MG42, although we do see another Rifleman squad having been sufficiently far away, going to hit the flank. Will the Fultons retreat? And now we see Propaganda War being used. At the same time, Armor Car trying to finish off an entire Rifleman squad here as it retreats. And we could see Devm lose a squad Rifleman again. And there we go, the squad went down. And again, then Symbiosis pulls back. He seems not quite interested in trying to knock out that howitzer, which again I think could pay off. Rifleman pushing into the centre, though being helped at bay by Grenadiers. Mortar pulling up again for Symbiosis, and there we go, the Hellcat rushes forwards, the Mortar going for the victory point, and there's nothing to protect, nothing to support, the pack has not been accrued, and there's still only one Stoog after the first one was wrecked. And another Hellcat has been provided by an off-map combat group alongside other units, including Riflemen. Looks like the Hellcat could go down to the Stook, but of course now the second one. Armor Car's getting sticky bone, getting ambushed by the first Hellcat. Destroyed engine. Will the Stook be able to finish it off? And at the same time, again, another unit sneaking up towards the north. Symbiosis is much more getting aggressive now. He's finally getting in to do some damage, trying to take some territory and resources away from Symbiosis, but he lost another armored car. Another armored car lost, and interesting enough, he's not really been making use of any further command points. Otherwise, I mean, he could easily have, some minutes ago, gotten himself a King Tiger. And had he gone that, I think, to support the two Stooks, I think he actually could have pushed Devm off the field. And instead, he's losing everything that could have supported the Stook and made Symbiosis largely unbeatable. And instead, you know, now he's having his troops slowly pushed off one by one. And then when a King Tiger might finally appear, it's going to be too late. Symbiosis rather needs to be careful. And there we go, he's in fact lost pretty much most of his Stooks now. In fact, not all of them, and one armoured car. He's down to one, in fact. And Devm is just attacking all across the line. And more Nebula for fire. Actually, 14 kills in the Nebula, that's quite nice. Not entirely sure why he's shooting there, and Currently having a cat very interested in trying to get up on the bloody keyboard, which is not really good. And there we go, Königstiger on the way. Artillery flying through the air. But I think it should have been out earlier to help support the Stooks, and the armoured car instead is going to now be the only piece of armour on the field, which is going to render it a little less effective and a bit of an easier target for his opponent to basically just surround and shoot down. Armoured car taking heavy damage, but the King Tiger finally arrives. And the armoured car goes out of control. Veterancy 2 for the Hellcat, by the way, rifling within sticky bomb range. And there we go. The King Tiger gets sticky bombed. Damaged engine, that's definitely not going to help the advance of Symbiosis. And there we go, pretty much almost all of his units being sent out there. Another sniper. And anti-tank guns firing directly at the King Tiger. Actually seems to be landing a few penetrating shots, which is always bad news. And the Hellcat once more escapes, again thanks to Veterans 1 and the road. It can actually make a reasonably fast move. Will the Grenadiers they'll be able to finish off with a Panther Strike? And there we go, the Hellcat went down in flames.
Enemy unit down.
And another unit was lost for Symbiosis. Absolutely horrible how many units it keeps on losing. And definitely allowing Devm to get back into the fight. And there we go, anti-tank gun dealt with as well. And 31 kills on that sniper. Real bastard, that man. And there we go, the Grenadiers are leaving once more. And another anti-tank gun for Devm. And he's clearly looking to be getting another off-map combat group any moment soon. Come on, and there we go. Getting a Hellcat, mortar rifle, and 30 caliber machine gun.
Our forces are taking casualties.
And another unit actually went down. Looks like, oh, he lost his Veterancy 3 sniper. It's another small blessing for Symbiosis, but will it be enough? Will it be enough to overcome the might of Devm and the 1st Infantry? Let's go look at Symbiosis. He's down to 2 squads of infantry. He's got an MG, a mortar, and some pioneers, a sniper, and that King Tiger. But again, he's lacking in something to really push out. He's lacking in resources. And he's only really got that King Tiger to try and really hammer against Devm and try and do some damage to him. MG here could risk getting knocked out by the American mortar or rifle. And there we go, the MG crew dies. Pioneers also very close to going down. It likely will, indeed. And now there's only the King Tiger and a few Grenadiers in town. And that mortar with 1 kill. And artillery fires up, gets off a nice hit on the Grenadiers, immediately killing 2 members of the squad, killing another member of the squad as he retreats. And apparently somewhere, Steiner is dead. Steiner. I knew ye well, not very well. Constant fighting over the victory points. They're definitely taking down much quicker now for Symbiosis. He's barely got any left. He really needs to put a stop to it. He really needs to deliver a knockout blow to Devm. If nothing, at least to just give him some more breathing space. And another Grenadier squad out. 30 caliber firing from a nice position down here by the lakeside on the sniper, taking the victory point. I mean, that ought to say how desperate Symbiosis is. He's actually moving in with snipers to take points. And Symbiosis can't do anything else to sort of help. It's an absolute desperate situation. And the 30 caliber crew gets a sniper likely with their own M1 carbines. That or the guy toting around the fucking machine gun just bashed him in the head with it. You try carrying it around. And the Grenadiers hit a mine. There was a mine there all along. I have no idea when it was set up, but it just took out most of the Grenadier squad. And it was a new one. Sticky bomb on the King Tiger. Pioneer dead. I mean, this is absolute carnage. Mortar getting counter-mortared by the American mortar. And then the mortar got killed. Oh, there was another mortar. So many mortars. And King Tiger crushes an unfortunate bastard just as he lobs a sticky bomb at the rear of the mighty Königstiger. Direct hit on the King Tiger. The King Tiger, though, largely shrugs it off. Although the King Tiger isn't in fact in a terrible condition. MG42 heading inside the building, stopping the Grenadiers as they move towards it. 30 caliber set up there to protect the victory point. And we do see some forces moving for the northern one, but it is simply too late. And we do see GG from Symbiosis and Devm. And there we go. Game over. A victory for Devm, a victory for the 1st Infantry Division. Symbiosis and the 2nd Panzer Division did not quite succeed. And I think the problem was a bit some slightly unfortunate movements towards the centre with this sniper, which was not really optimally set up. But also I think you would have benefited more from Blitzkrieg at Stu 42 out a bit faster. Might have allowed him a few more surprises against them. Plus Blitzkrieg grenades. The Blitzkrieg ability itself was Stuks, but also, you know, the manpower blitz I think might have allowed him what he more needed. I mean, it was either that or he should have gone for right hand side and called him some V1s earlier or gotten that King Tiger a lot earlier. But in the end, when he finally got the King Tiger, he didn't have enough units to support it. Another problem was, I think, you know, Symbiosis holding back with his armoured cars. Armoured cars should not be held back like that. I mean, again, we saw when he finally moved them up there, he forced them to abandon this centre and actually allow Symbiosis to gain a good map hold. So again, had Symbiosis, I think, been more aggressive on the wings of the map with his armoured cars, he could have done a lot more damage to Devm and more likely been closer to a victory. But sadly that did not happen. Instead we saw some really good play from Devm, and again great usage of the armoured car, you know, not trying to ram it in like a tank but constantly staying at the edges of his opponent's front line, hitting the flanks, hitting the exposed sides, doing damage, killing men, then getting out there and in fact again forcing Symbiosis to expend a lot more resources to get an armoured car than Devm expended on getting it. So really nice play right there. Hope you enjoyed this match. If you did, why not subscribe, tell your friends or share. If you didn't, well, why not replay on or provide some feedback in the comments. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.